Hi, I'm Jen Hurd, and welcome to the Thrive Through Life Change event, where we're going to learn how to regain powerful energy, create an inspiring vision, and a balanced life, in spite of everything going on in the world right now. I'm a professional organizer, and I have been for many years. So I decided to create this event because over the years, I worked one-on-one with a lot of clients, and they would be going through major life changes, but some would come out the other side and thrive, and others not so much. So I wanted to combine my life experience with the life experience of a number of other experts who I've carefully and meticulously researched to put together a show that would help everyone understand that there's really no life change that you can't overcome. Some things take more time than others, but these experts are all going to discuss ways they've overcome obstacles, grown, and thrived, and how we can too. So my guest today, without any further ado, is Rhonda Nelson. She's the wife of lead singer and bassist Wayne Nelson from the Little River Band, as well as author and motivational speaker. She was born and raised in Tennessee, and she grew up listening to all different sorts of music and ended up going to a Little River Band concert in 1999 at the Wild Horse Saloon in Nashville, where I have been many times and love. And she met her husband, Wayne. So that led to them having a very special love story, and they got married a year later. And as time went by, she wrote a book called A Different Life to share stories of their life from the road. And he's toured for 44 years with this band. So it's been quite a ride. And so there's really great stories and moments in that book. So you should check it out. And she's also an entrepreneur and does a lot of philanthropy work with Wayne. And so being linked with, it's beneficial to be linked with a very famous rock band when you're doing philanthropy work. It gives you a great platform. So she also has within her coaching, Love the Life You Live is her theme. And she really works with people to embrace middle age and be fearless in defining and achieving their own success and really loving the life that they create for themselves. And that's one of the big pillars of our event right now is to talk about how to create the life you love. So welcome, Rhonda. I am so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you. Really Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so glad you could make it. So I'm really thrilled to have you talk about this. This is our musical segment to the show. We've had some diet, we've had all kinds of different things. This is the musical interlude. So your husband Wayne from Little River Band would still be touring, I suppose, if COVID hadn't interrupted that. He had some plans.
Yes.
So I know I saw, this is how I discovered you. I saw your YouTube channel and it was talking about same storm, different boat, I guess the theme there. And you were talking about, life changes and the different things that you guys have encountered with the forced, hiatus from touring. And I know a lot of musicians personally, and this time's been really difficult for them. So how are you guys weathering this? Like what's been going on?
Well, wow. It's, this was a big year for not only LRB, but also for Wayne in that it is the band's 45th year.
Oh,
it's
wow.
his 40th year with the band.
40th.
And he also turned 70 this year. So there was a lot of celebrations planned. It was a huge touring year. I mean, it was one of the biggest that has been on the books in quite a while. Wow. And so, to have this just like a light switch go out completely has been really interesting. Obviously, I'm grateful for the time that we get to spend together because, basically LRB tours every weekend of the year. And so in some regards, it's been really special to, these guys that tour like that, they miss so many things at home, but yet they're out there doing what they love. They're sharing music that creates memories for people. And so while yes, they are missing things at home, they're still really doing what they love. So to have this time at home with him has been great. What has been unique is adjusting to that time at home.
Right. I know I saw on the video, he was really having full-on concerts at home, right? Just to really keep his stamina.
Yes. So, we kind of have this little joke where a few nights a week he goes into a studio and I'll go I've started back into a process that I had done a while back. I used to do acrylic painting and I had kind of gotten away from that. And this time has allowed me to really get back into that. And so he'll go into his studio, I'll go into mine. And the joke is, I say to him, have a nice show, honey. You know, because he goes and he sings the set.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, you can't just have a career like that is, I don't want to limit it to just an artistic career, but a career where you're using a tool like your voice.
Oh, yeah.
Can't go from 100 to 0 and not do it.
Right.
So that's been one of the things that he's been, you know, really diligent about. The other thing that this has allowed for is him to work on projects that have always been sitting there, and you dab into them a little bit as you can around the touring, but you never really get to dedicate a huge amount of time to them.
Sure.
So there have been several projects that have had a whole lot of dedication to them right now, and they're moving along really nicely.
Great.
Which is a really great thing. And it does allow for those creative, for me, as an instance, you know, I had just really packed up my acrylic paints and had not touched them in, I'm going to say probably 6-7 years at least.
Yeah.
And so this has brought out a new avenue for me. And mainly the reason I didn't do it was because it's, you know, it takes a lot of time to do a painting. And I stayed out on the road a lot, whether it was with my own things that I was doing or on the road with Wayne, because we do, and we'll touch on this in another, in a little bit, a lot of the philanthropy work that we do kept me out on the road. So I just didn't really have the time to do the painting. And so I think this is it's a unique time in everyone's life, but it's also a really beautiful time because it allows you to dig deep inside and explore those things that either you've packed away and said, I don't have time to make time for them, or explore those things that you've always said, man, I'd really like to try to do that. And I don't have time to do it. So that's what we've been doing in this time.
I think there's going to be so many inventions and things that come out of this from people that have had time to just sit and think about what they do and what would make what they do better. Or, you know, or maybe they've had that song rolling around in the back of their head and they just hadn't sat and focused on it long enough to pull out a lyric or pull out a melody line that they want, or finish a bridge that they needed to build, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, there's going to be a lot of things that come out. So I'm kind of excited for the next year or so to see the interesting output from this forced vacation, this forced thoughtful time. You know?
Well, and you know, that's what we're discovering when we talk to people in our podcast, Same Storm, Different Boat. My whole reasoning for calling it that is because we've all heard that statement. Oh, we're all in the same boat.
Right.
Well, no, we're not. We're in the same storm. But how we weather that storm and what that storm looks like for each person is very, very different and very, very personal. You know, for the arts and the entertainment industry, quite honestly, the majority of them probably won't do their craft again until next year sometime. You know, Broadway's shut down until 2021. Many tours are shut down. You know, no, it's not the same for everybody. And it's been very interesting to speak to from a lot of different people from all different walks of life of how they've been handling this and what this has done for them and to them, really. You know, the surprising thing and the beautiful thing about it is there's been a lot of good that has come out of this. I know it's hard for us to always see that because the news just constantly fills our ears with bad news bugs, as I like to call them. But I've talked to a lot of people, Wayne and I have both, during the podcast, and we've heard some really beautiful stories of beautiful things that have come out of this. And that makes my heart happy. That's what people need to hear.
Yes. Well, and that was part of what drove this, because when this first started, I mean, I'd always wanted to do an event like this, and I had the concept for a long time, but it had been ruminating, and I sought out coaching in various aspects over the course of a long time. But when I was forced to not go out on site, for 6 days a week and not be on the road in my own way, it forced the issue, but also because I thought there was so much fear, there was so much anger about various things going on. There's just so much negativity that for my part, I want to bring some light to that, and I want to bring lightness to that, and I want to bring, people, as what you're doing with your podcast, a way to share those positives, the great things that they're accomplishing while they have the time, with a generously granted time, and I'm trying to look at it that way, that the universe is being generous right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think too, it's good for everyone to hear from other people real time. Basically we record them in real time, that things are okay. Within our own little cocoon, things are okay. We figure out how to make them okay, and we make the positive come out of it. Right. And again, I do say, we can get so burdened down and feel so bad if we keep the news on 24/7. The news is doing their job. I don't knock them for that, but I think we have, in order to stay positive, we have to turn it off and walk away from it. And we have to find something that makes us happy and gives us joy.
Yeah. Well, and with a 24-hour news cycle, I've found that what I do for myself, I want to know what's happening, but I don't need to know what's happening 24 hours. They can go ahead and keep track of that 24 hours a day. I'm going to keep track of that for 20 minutes a day and go through my headlines and if I want to dig down into something, fine, but I'm really limiting my exposure. And that's partly for my own sanity, but also because I don't want to spiral into negativity. I don't want to, hear how many deaths there were today. That's just not my interest. My interest is how much life we can give today.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's our responsibility to know what's happening around us, and especially as we start stepping back into the beginning of the school year, and if you have kids and things like that. Yes, we must pay attention and we must hear what's going on. But like you say, you can get that in your 20 minutes and you can know what you need to know, and the rest of it, it really can drag us down, and it can drag you down into a hole that sadly, I think at this time is a little harder to dig yourself out of than maybe it would have been when we're not going through a pandemic.
Well, yeah. So you can't just go hug someone. We don't have that closeness. We don't have the physical intimacy, let alone the, just the ability. It's even hard to see people smile when you're wearing a mask. If they're smiling at you, you can't tell they are. So we're not even getting the visual input that we normally get.
Yeah, I gave this example the other day. Listen, I have a lung condition that it requires me to be extra careful. My husband's 70 years old. It requires us to be extra careful. Right. So if I have to wear a mask, I wear a mask. That's what I have to do. We have a neighbor. We see them every single day walking our dogs. And a couple of weeks ago, we were at a farmer's market, and I said to my husband, "Oh, there's our neighbors." And I said, "I'm just going to run and just kind of step in front of them and wave, like get in front of them and wave." Now we're all masked up, right?
Right.
It's mandatory here in Arizona.
Yes.
I literally got in front of them, and they looked at me like, "Who is this woman going?" Like, "Hi." And so I was like, "Hey, it's me, it's Rhonda, your neighbor." And they're like, "Oh my God, we didn't recognize you." And that's the hard part. We don't get to see the smiles. We don't get to, I think it shows how important facial expressions are.
Oh, so very important.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I truly hate texting. I don't like to talk on the phone, but I really hate texting, because you can't the emotion, whether it's good or bad, it can't, and usually it all comes out bad, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I may be writing in all capital letters because I'm super excited about something,
Yeah.
but the other person may interpret that as, why are you screaming at me?
Yeah, I know. I know. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Emoji does not equal emotion.
Exactly.
What I like
Exactly.
to say, because it's like the emoji does not really encompass what I'm really feeling here, and you can't see that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so
Exactly.
true. It's so true. So yeah, so oh, I wanted to talk about a little bit more about we were talking about on our prior call when we talked about giving life some meaning when we are in these situations where we're feeling stuck. So you can kind of step out of that feeling if you start to look to others to see what you can do. And I know you guys, and you and Wayne in particular, do a lot of work with your love the life you live philosophy, with advocating and supporting causes. And I know especially during these times, a lot of these organizations are having, some hard times, I'm sure, in terms of fundraising and whatnot. So I know there's some causes that inspire you guys. What have you been working on with some of your causes? I know there was a great concert that you
There
did.
there
Yeah.
was. Yeah, this has been exceptionally challenging for those organizations that rely really heavily on fundraising. One of the organizations that we support, St. Jude. Everybody knows St. Jude.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been surprised at how many people don't realize how much they rely on fundraising.
Yeah.
And one of the events that we do, I usually always participate in it.
Yeah.
Wayne does it when he can. He's done
Sure.
it quite a few times. There's a big, it's a golf weekend, songwriters, music jam. It's a long weekend in Palm Springs, Palm Desert. Patrick Warburton and his wife started it 10 years ago. Yeah. And so one of the nights that they do is they have a band. Some great friends of ours. The band is Six Wire. Some of your listeners may know them from the TV show Nashville. They were Raina James's backing band on Nashville.
Yeah.
Anyway, they will be the band, and then they will bring artists in like Wayne, Steve Augeri from Journey, Wally Palmer from the Romantics, Jason Jeff from Chicago, and each artist will do several songs that evening. So it's a several hour long concert, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so they had to revamp. They had to figure out how to make this work in this time of COVID when we can't all be in a gathering of, more than, in our case here in Arizona, it's more than 10 right now.
Oh, wow.
So,
down.
Yeah, exactly. So they came up with a way of doing it. The guys went into the studio, and they did have the artists come into the studio. And then once they got it all recorded, they were able to live stream it, and you could donate. You could bid on auction items. And so, you just adapt, you figure out how to use our wonderful technology that thank goodness we have it.
Yes.
And you make it work. Wayne and I were supposed to do, we call them book events, and basically what they are, it's myself and Wayne and one of the other band members. We do songs and stories from the road. And so it's an event where I'll do the stories, the two guys will do the songs, a lot of LRB stuff, a lot of other stuff that pertains to my book. And we were getting ready to do that for an organization in Colorado that we support called National Mill Dog Rescue. And obviously it got pulled right out from under us. You can't do it. So we have to go about figuring out how, again, do we do this? Of course, the thing for artists is quality is really important to them. So when you're relying on technology and virtual experiences, it's a little more challenging. So it takes a little longer to put these things together and to make them work. So that, you know, we still have that in the back of our mind to, and we're working on figuring out how to do that for that organization. And we've had lots of calls to do those kinds of things for other organizations where we can't actually go there and be there in person to do them. So it's, look, it's challenging, but I also have to say the challenge is like it's like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. You know, once you get there, you're like, yes.
Yeah.
We did
exactly.
it,
It's very energizing because you've supported an organization that you value as well.
Yeah.
And so you're doing, you know, it allows you to use your creativity for such a wonderful output, you know.
Yeah, and it also allows you to say this COVID, this pandemic did not get us down. It did not stop us.
Right.
And I think that's really important. And I truly believe wholeheartedly, whether it's on your own personal level or whether it's on a level like that where we're, you know, we look, it breaks our heart that we can't go and be with people and do these fundraisers that we so much love to do.
Right.
But we found a way to do them. We found a way to see their face. We found a way to share the experience. It's the same in your personal life.
Yeah.
Whatever obstacles the pandemic has given us, if you just keep pushing and push through them, then you're like, I did it. I did it. It didn't get me down. And I think that's really important to remember in this time because it's difficult. I haven't seen my mom since February. And I used to go every month. I would go every 4 weeks to visit my mom. Yeah. I'm not quite sure when I'll be able to get there, just simply because my mom is elderly. My mom has some underlying health problems. So getting on a plane, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. I exposure and then you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to know.
But the really cool thing about it is my mom didn't have a clue how to do FaceTime.
Oh, she's picked up some new skills.
And she's picked up some new skills. And I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. We did a family over Easter weekend. We did a family Zoom. And it was really funny because some of my aunts and uncles were really not familiar with the technology and they're walking around and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Hi, everybody, you know, and everyone was just.
You see the sky, you see the carpet, you know. I'm like, Mom, just please, just sit still. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But that was great. I mean, everybody enjoyed it. We had like a mini reunion. Yeah. Which I put together because I was like, you know, I'm using Zoom all the time. It isn't that hard. I think we can figure out how to direct people. And so we did. That was nice because we hadn't had a family reunion. So it was it was a check-in with everybody, but it was also really funny and we had a few laughs and a couple of the kids played. We had a lovely piano song from one of my cousin's sons. And then my daughter played guitar and sang for everybody, which was really fun. And that was the first time she'd even done that for the whole family, other than just, you know, sitting by a campfire with a couple people. So that was really neat. She'd been, COVID was really good for creativity in our house because she taught herself piano. She's been a guitar player and a drummer forever. So she learned a ton of new songs on the guitar. So then she could try them out. So I really think that, like I have been saying all along, it's a creative boom really to have the time to sit and work on it. You know, because especially for young players, you do have to put in a lot of that detail work. And it's when you can sit and focus, that's really when you're getting the most out of it in terms of your practice time. So that's been really good as far as what we've seen. But so let's change gears a little bit. In terms of your personal energy, in terms of your balance and with your life right now, such as you've described it, what are some of the things that you've found worked for you to maintain that balance and to keep up this energy to do all these projects you guys are doing?
You know, at first it was like vacation. It's like, oh, wow, okay, I'm on vacation. And so I'm going to clean out the closets and I'm going to clean out the drawers that have the catch-all drawers and things like that.
Right.
And then you realize, okay, this is how things are right now. And so you have to get out of vacation mode, and you have to go back into, okay, this is everyday life right now.
Right.
I one of the biggest things was, and I share this with a lot of friends, because a lot of my friends are working at home now, which is a very different experience for them.
Yes.
And they, we chat about how difficult that is, because you're just going from your bedroom to maybe if you have a home office, your home office, or to your kitchen counter or whatever. And
right. The dining room table.
yeah. And it's really easy to get sucked into that. I don't have to take a shower because nobody's going to see me. And I don't have to,
Yeah.
So one of the first things is that I really realized, and has been very helpful for me, it was to continue my routine. Get up. Now, I don't have to get myself dressed and put together like I'm going to be doing an event.
Right.
But, get up, wash your hair, just put a little mascara on, put a little lip gloss on, powder your nose, curl your hair, what, I don't know, whatever. Just stay with the routine. That really was a key thing for me, because it's a little like you're leaving your house, you're going to work, or you're going to do an event, or you're going, and so that worked really well for me. The other thing that it's not as easy right now, I will tell you, being here in Arizona, because we are now in the height of the summer. I mean, I have to tell you, today is supposed to be 107, Sunday is supposed to be 116. But for us, what we both really found was to just get out and exercise. Do your walks, do your bike rides, whatever it is. That just keeps your energy going. It keeps your creativity flowing. It's really easy to get caught up into being what I call a slug. If you're just not doing anything or going anywhere, So those are two things that are really important. I mean, now, because it is so hot here, we find other ways. Maybe I go into a section of the house where nobody is, and I'll do a little exercise routine or whatever, just to keep things going. But routine is really, really important. And the other thing that for us that just, keeps our spirits up is maintaining those contacts with people that you were in contact with all the time. For us, we were in contact with people all over the country. We have friends everywhere. And because we are going everywhere, we were able to see them a lot, year after year after year. Now, here we are. And, it's hard, because you miss those people, but you don't want it to create a situation where out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
So we've, like I said, I don't particularly love texting, but it is a way to, hey, I just want you to know I'm thinking about you. Yeah. Zoom has been really great because we get to see them.
Yes.
And we have done a lot of cocktail times, and we've done a couple of dinners, and we've done birthday celebrations. And that's been really important too, because you still feel like you're embraced by what I call my tribe. Yeah. I know they're there. I know we're not out of sight, out of mind. We're just we're in a holding pattern right now, Yeah. So those have been things that have been really helpful for us to navigate this.
Yeah. And I think those are amazing balancing, factors. Like when you can't go and physically see them all, at least to have those touch points with them, and keep those contacts, because then it gives you that hope and optimism that I'll be back around. We'll we'll come back through, but at least we can communicate and keep that up, which that is one of the blessings of this time period, having this happen with the amount of digital technology we have. I can't even imagine back when I was in college, when you just had a phone with a really long cord and you couldn't text or anything. It would have been very different. I think it would have been much more isolating.
I
So
will tell you a real challenge
yeah,
that has come out of this.
yeah.
And so I'm a CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate for foster children here in Maricopa County. And all contact in person has been halted, and it has been pretty much since the end of March.
Oh, wow.
We have no idea when that is going to be lifted. Even as we were coming out of our stay-at-home orders and things were leveling out here, we still were not allowed to do in-person visits with our foster kids. And that for me breaks my heart. A
Yeah,
lot of these kids rely on us CASAs as their constant, the one constant in their ever-changing life.
right.
And I mean, you can imagine if you've got a 4 or 5 year old kid
Mm-hmm.
that you're a CASA for, and you've been visiting this child every month,
Yeah.
several times a month, and you go to museums and you go to see plays and you go to parks, and now all of a sudden that stops. First of all, a 4, 5, 6 year old, 7 year old, they don't understand what's going on.
No.
And now all of a sudden, you being the most likely the
Mhm.
solid constant person in their life is
For sure.
now not there physically.
Mhm.
They do encourage doing Zoom calls and things like that. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, with a little one, it's just not the same.
Not, no,
It's
no,
really
it's not.
not.
No.
And then as they get older, if they're in group homes, it's not always possible. So that's been some real, I think that has probably been the thing that has hurt me and weighs on me the most
Mhm.
out of this situation, is
Yeah.
that I know there's so many of those children that we just can't have that same relationship right now with. And it breaks my heart. It truly breaks my heart. I mean, I won't even get on my bandwagon about the statistics of the number of foster children in Maricopa County alone.
Yes.
But I will say that it breaks my heart that we as advocates can't have right now that one-on-one with those kids
Mhm.
that I know those kids so desperately depend on. So
Yeah.
that probably has been the hardest
Sure.
thing to come out of this, because I don't want it to sound like everything is rosy every single day,
No, no, there's,
because we all have certain struggles with it,
yeah.
whether it's something as simple as it's a family of 5
Right.
and 3 of them need internet to do online studies, and mom and dad need internet. And it's a real thing. That is a real situation in homes. Like, how do we balance all of this for everyone to do their work and get their studies done?
Right.
So I don't want to portray that it is just all rosy and
Oh, no.
airy fairy,
Right. Right.
but some things weigh on you more heavily than others, and
Mhm.
my lack of being able to participate in my CASA's life right now has been a little bit of struggle. My particular case, uh, luckily, had just turned the corner before this all happened and was going to adoption. So I
Oh,
know my kiddo is in a great place. He's with his adoptive family.
oh, good,
Um, it hasn't been finalized yet, but it will be in the upcoming months. But
good.
even our court appearances and all of that, it's all done virtually over the
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah,
Um,
we're doing Zoom court appearances here too. Yeah,
yeah,
it's really
yeah.
interesting.
So, there are things like that come up that you go, shoot,
There's got
can't
to
this
be a
just,
better way.
right?
You know, I
Exactly.
know. I
Exactly.
know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, who knows, maybe over the course of this, there'll be some changes made, some
Yeah.
changes
Yeah.
to the recommendations and things that can be done. So hopefully we'll see that. Because I know that's got to be difficult for the kids too. I know there's a lot of situations right now that aren't mainstream per se, but really that's a big one. That's huge because there's
Yeah.
thousands and thousands. In Oakland County here in the Detroit area, we have a lot of families with kids in foster care and families looking for assistance. So it's been very challenging here.
Yeah.
I work with a few of those organizations, boots on the ground here. So let's bring this around. So what are maybe some recommendations that you might offer to a musician or a partner of a musician, a spouse who might be struggling right now, who's really struggling and kind of stuck in the frustration of it all? So how are some ways that maybe they could lift themselves up a little bit?
I always think it's very helpful to keep your communication and your friendships and acquaintances lines of communications open, because it helps all of us to continue to talk with one another and know what one another is doing. The other thing that has been really awesome is collaborations have come out of this that probably wouldn't have normally, just because paths wouldn't have crossed or there was not enough time. Right. So being open-minded and opening those doors to things that you probably would have gone, that would never work. And then you're like, it happens and you go, oh, wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And I'll give you an example of that. We have some real dear friends, Ron Moss, who was Ridge Forster on Bold and the Beautiful for many, 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 many years. Yeah, and part of the band Player, and his wife, Devin. They are over in Italy because Ron was, well, they're in Italy now. They actually got stuck in Belgium for several months. Oh, no. Because Ron is touring over there and they've got several different things going on. Well, he was touring before this all happened, and they've got several different projects going on. He's doing he's working on a play in Belgium and all kinds of things going on. And so Devin got this idea to do a cooking show, and it's I dining with Devin's Kitchen is what it's called. And so a thing that it sounds simple, but then you're like, well, how do we make this happen when the main person is in Europe and we're gathering people from all over? But I did an episode with her the other day, and it was fantastic. It absolutely was fantastic. And so, I just encourage people to think outside of your normal box. Yeah. And things that maybe you had ideas for, explore them, try them. And the arts community, we all are very supportive of one another. Our crew is like our family. We talk to them daily. And so I just, I think communicating and exploring different ideas and projects with others is really, really, really important, because it allows you to still use your creativity and the tools you've been blessed with while we're in this holding pattern.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've been watching some of the artists that I've loved for years that have done a lot of Facebook Live. James Taylor's done a lot. His son is a fabulous guitarist, so he keeps popping up. And then quarantine karaoke, there's a lot of people that used to play on the Santa Monica Pier or whatever. Well, I can't play there anymore, so I'm going to play for you. And they put their virtual tip jar out. And, that's been really fun. I've discovered some new people I would have never heard of otherwise. I wouldn't have seen them in person in Santa Monica, living in Detroit.
Exactly.
So you never know. And you could find someone to collaborate with by just watching one of those and thinking, oh goodness, that's a vocal I could use, or that's a technique they're using that I don't know, or, so I think there's a lot of things people can do. You have to use that sort of resourcefulness to seek it out. Yeah. And sometimes that's an attribute people need to work on, because they're fine with their own creative process, but in terms of looking for those resources and drawing them in and creating something with maybe more attributes or something bigger is a little more challenging. So I think people need to remember to look, to go seeking that.
Well, and two, the other thing that this has done, you can reach out to people. Yeah. It's easy to find people.
True.
But when you're, in Wayne's case, when you're doing 100 shows a year and you're traveling and you're back and forth, and then you're trying to have somewhat of a home life on the 3 days that you're home every week.
Right.
You know, those phone calls, those emails, those, hey, what would you like to do this with me? You know, they don't always get answered, and you know, sometimes they get lost, and sometimes there's just no time to do it.
Right.
It's not hard to find people now.
Right.
Everybody is hard. Everybody is at home, and everyone is, you know, there's a lot of time to do things that they probably normally wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And again, step outside of their box and try it. And that's what I really share with friends and in my messages always, but especially in this time.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go outside of your box.
Yeah.
Look outside of your box, and you know, the things you've always said I can't do, try them, because I bet you can do them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an opportunity.
It is.
Opportunity, and everyone needs to decide what they're going to step into. You
Yeah.
know, look
Yeah.
at that for sure. Well, I wanted to round this out. This is a really awesome little gift that you offered out to our viewers today. There's going to be a link below this video to a free song that you can pull down. It's called Soul Searching. It's a song. You can tell a little bit about the song. You know the background, of course. I don't know as much as you do.
It's a really old LRB song, and I actually had Wayne redo the song when, you know, for my whole Love the Life You Live thing that we do, because it just, I mean, look, we have a lot of time on our hands, and a lot of times we need to just sit in some quiet and dig deep into our soul and figure things out, whether it's, you know, what path am I going down career wise, what, you know, what do I need to focus on guiding my children, whatever it is. There's just, Lord, I need a little help, I'm soul searching. And that's, you know, that's what the gist of the song is about. And it's a really motivating song. But I think the other thing too, people need to be comfortable with allowing themselves the time to do some things for themselves. Some things, whether it's a hobby or whether it's just stopping and taking a break to read a book or whatever it is. Americans, before this all happened, we were so busy. And we put so much emphasis on our work and making ends meet and providing for our families that a lot of things got pushed aside, and we didn't have time for them, either because we were too busy or we were too exhausted. And so now I believe that this song speaks volumes now, because just dig inside, do a little soul searching, and find those things that bring you peace, that comfort you, and that give you joy. And that's really the gist of the song.
Yeah, it's perfect. And there's a couple bonus tracks there too, so a little extra special treat for the ear. And so we're so grateful for that. That's going to be amazing. And everyone, I'm sure, will enjoy those. And we'll have the link below the video, so please be sure and check that out. As well as Rhonda's website, you can access her there. We'll have that information available to you as well. So please reach out if you would like to speak with her more. Also, I really want to thank you for joining us today, Rhonda, and telling us your story. This has been a really great opportunity to talk. And I want everyone to please remember, tune in. There's 21, maybe 25 days of this Thrive Through Life Change event. And I keep adding wonderful people that I just think are going to bless everyone so much. So please, you know, check it out. We're going to talk about a lot of different aspects of life change, and we're really going to work on success and energy and getting that balance back with all of the things going on. So thank you so much. I'm gonna end our recording.
Jen. I appreciate it. And I'm super excited to watch all the episodes too. I tell you, you really created an awesome series at a time when I think everyone can benefit from it.
I think so too, and I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.